I've had enough of talking about guys that are at smaller schools, guys that would be a stopgap player, guys that couldn't even possibly in a million years beat out Jake Merklinger because I think he's pretty good, but lacks experience, or George McIntyre, who's too light. Tennessee seems settled on getting a warm body, a third quarterback. I've had it. I don't believe that's the case. I think you go after a guy that you believe can realistically win the job. I know a little bit about the football calendar that some of you might not know. Yes, spring practice is important. It helped McIntyre, I'm sure. It helped Merklinger. It helped Nico, except for the last 2 days. And I do think there's something to be said for getting on campus in January if you're going to be the starting quarterback. Completely agree with that. But Caleb, I also think that summer workouts are every bit as important to quarterbacks and skill position players as spring practice, especially the way that Josh Heupel runs kind of a soft practice. They don't tackle. There's not much physicality. Caleb, it's time for Tennessee to go out and get a big name. Has anybody called Carson Beck to see if he's still dating his girlfriend that he moved to Miami for?
Oh, he's not. They broke up.
Okay. That's good. This is turning into a WAG site. What's it called? Wives and girlfriends site. All right. So they broke up. He may want to move back into the SEC. Has anybody called him? How about some of the other fantastic quarterbacks? And I pointed this out in a column on offthehooksports.com. Caleb, I'm just not to the point that I believe Tennessee can't go out. Now they have $2.5 million to spend in NIL. I'm not to the point that I think Tennessee just has to find a stopgap guy. Why not find a guy that can be an elite quarterback that you believe you can build a program around? Because we just went through all the bust. You like McIntyre a lot. I'm kind of lukewarm on both of them. But Caleb, I think that Tennessee's fans and Tennessee might even be setting their sights a little too low. If you can match the money, why can't you go out and try to get a guy during the spring transfer portal that you believe can come in and win the job in the summer and in preseason camp? It's a tough ask. I get it. But these guys believe in their ability, and you need to believe in them. And right now, Tennessee is taking a major step back in quarterback if it's Merklinger or McIntyre for 2 different reasons. Why not go ahead and swing for the fences? Maybe, worst case scenario, you get one of your rivals to spend more money in NIL so that they can't secure other prospects. So that's my take. Bank on it, brought to you by Commercial Bank. We'll get Caleb's thoughts. Member FDIC, life made better. Bank on it. The Vols' sights are too low when it comes to what they're viewing as a third quarterback, but could be a starting quarterback this season, 2025.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank.
All right, before we look at some of those quarterbacks that I think Tennessee should go ahead and call and at least raise the price on them, Caleb, what do you think of my assertion? Do you think it's even possible that Tennessee could get an elite 5-star? I mean, there are no 5 stars in the transfer portal. I've already looked, but do you think they could get elite push for a starting job type of quarterback? And one of those might very well be at UCLA.
I think Tennessee absolutely could go for an elite quarterback. And I'm not saying you're wrong on this. And they should shoot high, and they should just try to pay somebody to come to them. And for what it's worth in the moment, Notre Dame quarterback Steve Angeli has hit the transfer portal. He's the most highly touted quarterback in the portal. As of now, he's the number 18 ranked quarterback. But Dave, I'll just tell you.
Well, no. I think you misspoke. He's the most highly rated undecided
Quarterback. That is true. Yes. Dave, I'll just tell you, though, some of the names I dropped yesterday when I talked about and the names that Vols fans have been dropping on Twitter and wherever on people they want to target. Trust me, they're not shooting low. Now, they didn't shoot Carson Beck high. Maybe they don't want Carson Beck. Maybe they find him overrated.
Okay, well, let's move on then. What about John Mateer, who went from Washington State to Oklahoma? Are you telling me that you couldn't talk him out of Oklahoma with Brett Venables as the head coach?
I mean, you could, but
okay,
I mean that's a good one. John Mateer, I didn't even think about him yesterday, but you're right. I mean, he ran for 800 yards, and
I don't want to knock you. I don't want to knock your list either, because I think your list was spot on as far as what they're doing, and that comes from.
Well, yeah,
okay. What about Fernando Mendoza, who went from Cal to Indiana? Are you telling me you can't? These are the 4-star quarterbacks, by the way. I know it stings, but Nico is the highest rated quarterback in the transfer portal. But you're a little behind, but Mendoza is going to Indiana. Now, none of these NIL contracts are binding, so why not call Mendoza and say, hey, dude, come on down. You could play here immediately. Why not make that sales pitch? To heck with being loyal to Merklinger or McIntyre. Either you believe in Merklinger, most likely, or you need to go find another quarterback.
Mendoza, I would say I wouldn't go for him because I don't think he'd be good enough for Heupel's system. You're talking about a guy that threw for 3,000 yards, had 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and is a statue in the pocket.
Okay, I'm fine with that. If you don't think they're a good fit or you don't think they're good enough, don't do it. But these are the 4-star quarterbacks, and they're all going to schools that have less to offer than Tennessee. Fernando Mendoza.
We just did Fernando Mendoza.
Luke Kromenhoek. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I didn't know how to say Iamaleava, so I was able to get around that. He goes from Florida State to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is basically Tennessee junior. I mean, they're running a similar type of offense. They don't have as much talent. They don't have the same facilities. They don't have Knoxville, which is a great town. Why are you not calling Luke Kromenhoek?
I would call him. I would give him a call. I don't know how. I do think mobility is kind of important for this, and there is the only thing that would make me a little bit concerned is I don't know how mobile he is, but also more importantly, he transferred to Mississippi. If he transferred from Florida State to Mississippi State, are we sure he's good enough?
Okay, there's some more, but I got 2 that stand out to me. You think Connor Wegman is better than Jake Merklinger?
No, I'm just going to say it. Not for Heupel's system. No.
Okay, I do. He's going to Houston. I think you could call him and get him to leave Houston and come to Tennessee. We'll agree to disagree. Miller Moss.
Okay, Miller Moss is actually
Southern Cal to Louisville is what he's doing.
And at USC last year, he was a bit of a disappointment. And he ran this, but he is familiar with the system, and he ran Lincoln Riley's system.
Nico was a bit of a disappointment.
Well, that's true. But Miller Moss is not mobile. That is another one of the issues. By the way, this is how I know. This is how generations change. Dave still says Southern Cal, and everybody else says USC. I love that about you, Dave.
No, I say Southern Cal because they considered it an insult, and they didn't accept my son. That's why I say Southern Cal. They don't like that. They like Southern California or they like USC. So that's why I say Southern Cal. Just a little jab.
Oh, okay. Just a little jab. I thought you were one of those people in the
my son.
I thought you were one of those just Southerners who just thinks USC, South Carolina, obviously. And
I just think that they didn't accept my son, and I'd rather go see him in LA than Amherst, Massachusetts.
Fair enough.
You have to fly to either one. So where would you rather go, LA or Mass?
Yeah, not even Boston in Massachusetts, Amherst. It's it's like
an hour and a half from anything. So no, that's why I call him Southern Cal. I think that Tennessee, based off the reports that we have heard and based off the digging and the names we gave you yesterday, and if you want to go back and listen to that, you should, because those are realistic names. But I don't know why somebody who is committed, signed, whatever you are nowadays, I don't know why you're not going after them, because there are no binding contracts. There's no reason you can't. Tennessee needs to set their sights high, and they need to say, just like the NFL does, the quarterback position is vacant for you. It may not be. You may be lying. You may think Merkling or McIntyre's the guy, but I don't believe that yet, and I don't think Tennessee fans believe that.
All right, I agree, but I just make the argument that some of the guys I named on Thursday are actually better than the ones you're talking about. I think Avery Johnson or Byron Brown is a better option, and Avery Johnson is at Kansas State. Tennessee would lure him away. They could throw money at him, and he started last year. So that's,
Okay,
I guess.
But Bobby, no offense to you, but Bobby Petrino, who's got a better history of coaching quarterbacks and putting together offenses, seems to think that Miller Moss is a better fit.
Bobby Petrino thinks Miller
or a better quarterback.
Oh, okay, but I mean, the fits for Bobby Petrino and fits for Josh Heupel are a little bit different, though. Look, I mean, again, I was naming, Joey Aguilar.
Let me stop for just a second. Why do you think? I think Joey Aguilar's the best option if you get him to come back east, but because Nico's going to bump him. But why do you place so much of an emphasis on running?
Because I do, because Josh Heupel's system has you look at one side of the field, so you kind of got to be able to elude your blindside tackle a little bit more than most quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think if you had Peyton Manning, he's not a great runner, but you'd take him. And
I would take Heath Schuler in this offense over Peyton Manning. Wouldn't even think about it.
Debatable. But if you're not able to adjust things in order to take a Peyton Manning, then something's wrong intrinsically with your offense.